Duh, and if you haven't caught part one, this is part two of part one on how to make polymer dreadlock beads. More of a psychedelic kind of bead. So catch part one so you see exactly how I did the first part of the inception of these beads. So I'm going to get right into it. Basically what I'm going to do now is apply a coat of not polymer clay, apply a coat of Mod Podge to each bead. Mod Podge is a sealant, and this is a sealant. It makes your beads water resistant, not waterproof, water resistant, and less likely to break if you drop it on the floor, a couple of times. So you still want to be, fragile and careful with your beads, your dreadlock beads, and treat them with respect, but this just makes it more durable. So what I have to work with as far as applying I keep saying polymer clay, applying the Mod Podge onto the beads is a paper towel, which I folded up, plastic bag to catch the excess Mod Podge, and some rags that I have onto the surface here. See that? Put a couple of rags down. So it's always good to have something down so that you don't make a complete mess. And I'm using a paintbrush. That way, if you don't, then you won't get your hands too messy. So it's kind of a messy thing, but sometimes being messy can be fun. You can create a lot of interesting artwork being messy. Just now. And it's a bit windy too. But yeah. Definitely I want to remind people to, when you bake your clay, do it outside so it can be easily ventilated, because it's not good to do it indoors. I did that once, and I did have the windows open, but that wasn't enough. So here's one of the beads. It's the one that we did that is shaped like a candy cane. And candy canes are all year round if you want. It's a psychedelic candy cane. So I'm going to apply some polymer clay. Sorry, I'm going to apply some Mod Podge onto the bead. So you don't have to put a ton on there, just enough to coat it. If you put a lot on there, it's going to take longer to dry. Sometimes I like to do as much as 3 coats and let it dry, but you want to let it dry in between coats. I'll put 1 coat of Mod Podge on it, let it dry overnight, and then do another coat, let it dry overnight, and do yet another one, and then let it dry overnight. So it'll take a total of 3 days, probably about 3 days for these to dry out completely. If I'm in a humid climate, it'll take even more time for it to dry out. So you just put it on there. You don't have to put a thick amount on there, just enough to cover it, because you're just sealing it, sealing the design on there, sealing the colors, sealing in the safety of knowing it's not going to break the second day that you wear it or something like that. I've had beads like that I made that turned out like that in the beginning when I first started making these type of beads. So yeah, it's good to have a rag too, then you can wipe the excess Mod Podge that gets on your fingers, because it's really sticky and messy. You can also put this on like a skewer or something like that to dry, if you don't want to hold it like I am. I didn't bring out, well, like a skewer or a toothpick placed onto styrofoam. That's how I usually like to dry my smaller beads. The bigger beads, they can dry pretty much standing up on parchment paper or wax paper. So, and it's a very relaxing thing to do on a Tuesday morning. It's probably afternoon at this point. Let's put this there. I'm going to put some on the top too. And then when it dries, I'll actually now I'll do it now. I'm putting some on the inside of the bead too. That way that protects the inside of the bead. Because sometimes the inside of a sculpted polymer clay bead can be very rough and ragged if it's not like sanded down and sealed. So when it's sanded down and sealed, then you won't end up putting it on your dreads, and when you take it off, you won't have like hair coming off. That happened to me a long time ago when I first started making beads, polymer clay beads specifically, because I wasn't sealing the insides of them. So the outside was smooth and protected, but the inside of the bead wasn't. So it's good to seal both the inside and the outside of your polymer clay beads. So this is the mushroom guy or gal, whatever you want to call him, whatever gender you want to give him. I just said guy, he looks like a little dude. But anyway, just having fun with the beads, these psychedelic dreadlock beads. Yeah, I like the color combinations too. It reminds me of the jungle is what I think of with the green, purple, and blue. It makes me think of like nighttime in the jungle. It's like it'll be dark, but yet you see all these colors coming through because of all the beautiful plant life and the animals that exist there. So, yeah, I'll just put this guy here. When you put it on wax paper, the Mod Podge won't stick to it. If you put it straight onto something like, say, put it like straight onto something like fabric, it'll stick onto the fabric, and then everything you did will kind of be for naught. But with this, I can just kind of put it, I can cover it with the Mod Podge and then put it onto the parchment paper and it won't stick. And then I'll let it dry outside. So Mod Podge does have a bit of an odor to it, scent to it that's might be unpleasant to most. It's almost like just like a strong glue scent. So if you don't like that smell, then you can just leave it outside to dry. That's why it's a good idea to start on these projects during the daytime, so you can let it dry during the day and then bring it in at night. So, because a lot of times I don't like to leave projects like this out at night, because the weather changes, it gets cooler, and you end up getting a bead where there's a lot. I mean, there might be some bubbling on it when you do Mod Podge on sealing it, but sometimes it could be too much bubbling on it for my liking. And when I say bubbling, how can I give you an example? Maybe I'll show you, do a close-up on this bead I'm working on, because there's a few bubbles on there, but I'm not too concerned about that. Let me show you. Let me see if I can take the camera and point it in that direction. Without, see right there. I don't know if you can see the bubbling on it. It's tiny bubbles on there on the bead, but it's not that bad. But if you leave it out overnight, and you know how it gets cooler at night, and then there's the dew, morning dew, that lands on it, so it doesn't get completely dry. So it'll look kind of really bubbly, and it'll still be sticky. Half sticky and half dry, actually. So it's a good idea to do this kind of project during the daytime in the morning, so there's ample time for these beads to dry. So that is the message I'm bringing here. I hope you guys have been enjoying the tutorial I'm doing on this. I mean, it's something that we can all do, but not everybody wants to do that. That's why people buy these beads. I will be selling each and every one of these beads on my shop, by the way, on my Etsy shop, and that's here's the other one. It's like a cone bead. www.darkmoondoll.etsy.com. Sorry, it's hard to concentrate on what I'm doing and to talk about other things sometimes like that. But yeah, this is turning out nice. You don't have to put a coating of Mod Podge on your beads, but I suggest that you do. That way, just in case, oh, it fell over, it's okay. It'll be alright. But that way, it dries protected. You know what I mean? So it's protected. It won't break, easily. So with this bead, this cone bead, I'm going to have to wait for it to dry first, and then I'll get on inside of it to coat it with Mod Podge to seal the inside of it. When you seal the inside of the bead, it actually makes it strong as well as sealing it on the outside. So this is one of the beads I made off camera. It's a heart bead. I used the rest of the fabric with it. It has a little bit of Mod Podge on it. Okay. But yeah, this is the other bead that I made. It's a psychedelic heart. What I want to do is like a little eye in the middle, evil eye in the middle. I might try to find some rhinestones that I have in my stash of stuff and do that. So I'm going to Mod Podge this. And I also like the sheen that Mod Podge gives the designs on the beads. It really makes the designs pop out more. There's people that choose not to use Mod Podge to seal it, and that's okay. You don't have to. Where's that one bead that I had out that I showed you? But that one bead that I showed you, it didn't have Mod Podge on it, and that was before I even really knew much about Mod Podge, and it's just fine. It's because the bead is so thick. I made it really thick and durable. I'm getting Mod Podge on my fingers. Oh no. It's a messy job, but it's fun. It's fun, man. It's fun. It doesn't feel like a job. It just feels like a time to be creative and express yourself. So these beads, like I said, will be available on my shop once I get them done, and I'll keep you up to date on that. As I said, it takes a long time for them to dry sometimes because I do these coatings of Mod Podge on it to guarantee that it'll last you guys for a while. So just hang in there, and I'll have some up for you soon. And those are the ones that I'm working on. And I just got a handful of Mod Podge on my hand. So I'm gonna have to clean up here. See that I'm really messy. I'll see if I can turn off my phone. But thanks for joining me today for this 2-part tutorial on how to make psychedelic dreadlock beads. It's really easy to do. Polymer clay, psychedelic dreadlock beads. So yeah, thanks for joining me today. Thanks for subscribing to my channel, my messy hands. Thank you for the likes and shares, and thank you for your kind comments. Leave your comments down below and let me know what you're doing to express yourself creatively. Hopefully you're trying some of the stuff that I do on the channel. Look at my past shows and the tutorials that I've done so far on how to make beads and other things too. Alrighty guys, I hope you're having a great Tuesday and find some time to be creative. Have a great day. Blessings to you all.